ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Late Night Legends presented by Club Killers. I'm your host, DJ DeVille. We've got Icon, we've got Exile, and a special guest. We've got Murphy Kennedy in the building.
Let's go.
Thanks for coming through.
Yeah,
Thanks, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So you are here in Vegas a lot, but where else are you from? You're from San Diego, correct? Like, do you live there, or do you just bounce back and forth quite a bit, or how's that work for you?
Well, originally from Los Angeles.
Okay.
Born. I always tell people that I was born in Los Angeles and raised in Los Angeles, and I grew up in San Diego.
Okay.
And then, Vegas. I'm kind of like living a double life right now where I'm splitting time between Vegas and San Diego. It was just more prudent to get an apartment out here since the gigs have really increased.
Absolutely.
Nice.
I mean, so I think California is kind of like its own country with every city's a metro and almost a state in itself, right? So how do you feel like San Diego differs in nightlife, or even just being a DJ in general, compared to LA versus San Diego? What's that look like? How do you operate differently in each one of those metros?
I'd say the nightlife has definitely changed in San Diego. I mean, it used to be. I mean, you probably remember the Flux days and the Stingery days, even the Omni of San Diego days. I mean, when you had those flagship nightclubs, it was booming. I think since those flagship nightclubs have kind of closed down or have changed, the scene is kind of in disarray. You have a lot of smaller bars that are starting to take over and it's moving more toward a restaurant lounge type venue. But it's still one of the most beautiful places to go in the world, especially when we're talking about the beaches. My preference now is really to play, the beach clubs like Firehouse. That's my favorite spot in San Diego now. But
real quick, so the rooms are getting smaller out there. The big rooms kind of fading out a little bit. You're saying?
Well, most of the big rooms now are run by Insomniac.
Okay.
So when you talk about Nova, you talk about Bloom. Those are the two biggest rooms right now. Park is kind of like an aberration because Park has always been that was the default big club after Flux closed. Yeah. But Park kind of has its nights. I think it has its nights, and they have kind of an identity crisis. They want to be EDM, they want to be open format, and it's so.
Well, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, as you get into those larger rooms that are 1,000 cap plus.
Yeah.
There is a lot of emergency moving around. If you don't have a solid flow every single night, and not everybody can book like a Steve Aoki every single night.
Right.
So there's that pressure to what are you going to do to fill that room? And there's a lot of experimentation, right? It happens everywhere. And I think that if you don't have that solid momentum every single weekend, and sometimes you got to do it 3 nights a week. How are you going to incentivize people to show up to such a big room every single night? And it has to be packed. Who wants to go to a 1,000-person room that has 300 people in it, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of pressure. So I do understand the urgency of filling those rooms. But I guess from the California market, I've been there numerous times, but I haven't frequented there super regularly. So I'm actually asking this out of curiosity too: is what happened to nightlife in LA where it seems like it's more of a house party vibe? Because I DJ'd. Remember when Dre's was at the W, I think?
Oh, yeah.
So that was
Dre's nightclub?
Yeah, I DJ'd there back. It was 2010, 2011. Corey Feldman was there. Will.i.am was there. It was super crazy. It was one of my first really crazy LA celebrity experiences. They're all in one room hanging out. I'm like, this is super Hollywood. This is cool. And then shortly after that, I feel like a lot of that evaporated because the it closes early. Everything closes early. You always hear that. It's mad early. You go out early, you close early, and then people go to house parties and do that. So why is that? What happened there? Why does it happen like that? You think in LA it's gonna be lit until 4 a.m, but it's not. What caused that?
I think there's two different things. If you talk to the random person, they'll use the reasoning that people aren't drinking anymore and they're not. Yes and no. People are getting smarter. They're realizing that spending $3,000 on a bottle service table is not the smartest thing to do, and probably not even within their budget.
Not fiscally responsible,
right? So they're not really doing that. LA is a different animal. LA is they've shot themselves in the foot because during COVID, coming out of COVID, they started turning toward the influencer DJ and more of the who can bring people DJ, and that's always the death of a market when you start relying on your DJs to bring people solely instead of the promoters and the VIP hosts that you pay to bring people to bring people.
Yeah.
And so that's when you go to LA parties. And the last time I DJed in LA, I noticed this. I was like, dude, these people just sit around and take pictures of themselves.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
And it's the truth. It's the truth. You're DJing your ass off.
And people are just on their phones looking at themselves.
Yeah, or just
it's
more
is it all
to
the
be
scene
seen.
all music, or is it just hip hop only or dance music?
I've noticed that in the hip hop clubs.
Okay,
now, I will say I played Bar Liz, however you call it, a couple months ago, and that's more and the Hollywood side, and that was lit. You know, you had people coming in, that was more dance music. You know, I think the hip hop side is more of like the who's to be seen, but then you have the new clubs like Keys, Zouk that just opened up that are dance music central, and I think you're going to see different crowds come out, but they're going to have to do something about the bottle service. They're going to have to start making it more affordable for people and more incentivized and more exciting. You know, like bring the girl on the airplane for the guy who just bought one bottle. You know, let the girls do something else besides the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here's your, you know, they got to make that experience a little better. And also they need to incentivize the younger generation too to come in and spend money. They have it. Some of them have it. They're spending it elsewhere, but it's just more affordable, I think, to do a house party. Versus
there's a lot of trends happening, and you know, I feel like in a market like LA where there is so much money in all age groups. I mean, you know, if you're 21 years old and you're going out, you've got money to start with. That's just like almost like to go out. Period. You have to have money. Even if you have lunch in LA, you have to have money. So
and they made everything free, so it's like
I mean, I saw a TikTok where this kid was trying to find the most expensive lunch in LA, and it was like $128 for a sandwich, bottled water, and chips. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, they're flexing one way or another. So if you can get these people to come out to a club and do the same thing, it's not going to be like we talked to Vice about this. It's like coming up in a bottle culture. They kind of trendified that back then. From LA to Vegas, it was like the Tao parades. You know, you come up with the bottles and everything like that. That was a trend. There will be new ones. This new generation that's coming in. I mean, it's like 20 years separated at this point. As scary as it is to say that. You know, Tao Las Vegas is going to be 20, I think, right? Is that correct? So the innovation always is going to be there. There's going to be a new innovator. There's going to be a new trend in sight. And you know, being strong with social media, do you think that's going to be such a main ingredient in this next generation of clubbing? Do you think social media will be that pivot point that's going to cause people to move into these clubs in a new way and demand a new type of entertainment? How do you see social media interacting with this?
Well, I've seen the trends and measured them over the past 6-7 years. And kind of when I got into my other business, which is a social media management company, I kind of told DJs, venues that this is going to be where people are at. You know, this is where we're in an attention economy where you know, these phones, these iPads, computer screens dominate your attention. And so this is what these companies are gearing everything to, where they want to keep you glued to your device as long as they possibly can. And it's working. Yes. If you look around, 1 out of every three people, if you go into a room, is on their cell phone. So that being said, in the club world, you know, this is how people are making their decisions. This is how they're deciding where they're going to go on a certain night out. Are their friends there? You know, are they having a good time? There's apps now that you can use to book tables, to book, you know, to join guest lists and stuff like that.
Tao's doing that now. So that's another trend.
That's a big trend, yeah.
So in your opinion, because you're so focused on this, what do you think is the most nightclub oriented platform when speaking of social media? Like, is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Which do you think is the best one? Or is it YouTube? Like, what?
Is it MySpace?
Yeah, MySpace.
Yeah, Black Planet.
Show it Justin Timberlake. What do you think, especially going into maybe the next 3 years, who is going to be the dominator when it comes to nightlife on those platforms?
I think Instagram still has the hold on the market right now. I can see maybe TikTok, as people continue to be more creative on there, taking over. It all depends on the future of TikTok, obviously. But I think Instagram is still going to be the most trusted site because of the features, because you can not only post on your wall about the club a flyer, and then also go on your story and also create a reel and also DM your friends and all this stuff. So I think Instagram is still kind of the place to look.
That makes me happy because that's my favorite platform. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's so versatile because, you know, as I'm learning this too, because like I do a lot of the managing of not only mine, but the Club Killers Instagram. And you see certain types of activity, like stories, need to feel organic, not just like a flyer post or things like that. It's wild how you see reactions of like an organic photo of like of a jacket or somebody at the club just standing by the staircase versus, you know, you could do almost the same thing but have a lot of text over it and it doesn't get the engagement. And then if you're on Reels, you know, it has to be, you know, personable. It has to be like the kind of the face-to-face engagement. And like we were talking about how flyering is kind of dead, especially on social media.
Or recaps. I feel like DJ recaps.
Nobody watches them.
Everybody wants to see just a raw clip of you dropping a song.
Recap.
I don't even do recaps no more.
Like fast cuts.
No one wants to see him. It's like,
which is ironic because it's faster consumption of that situation, but it doesn't feel real because it's like you're flipping too fast. So it's really interesting to see how human psychology is immediately rewarded with longer, like stopping the scroll, as they call it, stop that scroll, because like it go anywhere from the average of engagement is what 2 to 9 seconds on a reel on Instagram.
Yeah,
so that's a powerful thing to think about. But if you can hold them longer than that, you really have them hooked. So it's as a successful DJ, it's actually causing you to be so much more than a DJ, right?
Yeah.
The responsibility level is massive now. So, because I wanted to talk to you about this too, is juggling your responsibilities as a DJ versus your responsibilities as a social media manager for your own brand, let alone someone else's, right? So, how much more time is it really? Because like obviously the ability to be a really good DJ because of technology is more accessible, right? But not everybody's good at social media. Not everybody's good at that production. Because you got to think like Spielberg, like a miniature Spielberg in a way for your own movie.
And these kids are getting creative.
Yeah.
People are getting more creative. I'm like,
but it's diluted. But now your time demands are going triple because like you used to be like, I just got to download some dope music and then go to the club and rip it. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, I got enough time to just get a little bit of music. And I got to get on my face-to-face with the ring light, make it look good, come up with a script, talk to ChatGPT for a second. I mean, do you think that that's in the equation for charging as a DJ now? Do you think that, because the amount of, think about how many hours you put in just looking for music, you have to equate that, this is a huge debate because what you get paid as a DJ I always see that even on Facebook. Well, nobody takes into account how many hours I sat on my laptop, and how many times I had to go buy new gear and all these different things. Now you have to do all the social media obligation. Do you think that's a fair thing to equate into what you charge, or is that just based on demand? What do you think there?
Yeah, it's very fair. I think with any field, when you advance, if you're a surgeon, you're a doctor, for example, and you do brain surgery, but then you learn another form of surgery, you should be able to charge more for that expertise, for that the school you had to go to learn, right? I think with DJing, yes, you are. The game has changed. You now have to also be good on social media. You also need to be able to promote your shows. I mean, if you look at it, I was in Amsterdam a few years ago at ADE, which is the Amsterdam dance event, and I was in a room during the day. If you know about the ADE, the day is like conferences and get-togethers, and at night is big parties. So during the day, we were in this room with all the creators of all the top music festivals from around the world. And one DJ in the back stood up and he's like, hey man, like I have a question. Like, why you book the same guys every year? Like, why don't you book any, like guys like me are trying to get on your lineup? And he says, we book those DJs every year because they sell. Like we know if we put Calvin Harris at this festival, he's going to sell 1 million tickets, and that's it. So even at that level, it shows you those guys sell. Now those guys maybe sell with their name, right? Just put Calvin Harris on a flyer, the club is sold out, or they have to sell with effort, right? And so I think that when that trickles down to the B and C and D level DJ, you need to sell with effort. And because sadly, that's the game right now. That's the game how it's always been. The headliner is booked as a headliner not only because he's good at what he does, but because people want to come see him, see his art.
Well, and I think like the A tier is based on legacy. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing we see because like somebody like Calvin Harris, who just literally put out a country song, he charges $1 million a show.
Yeah.
And that he doesn't come out for less than $1 million now. Yeah. It's just the way it is. But it also gives him more free time because not everyone's willing to pay $1 million. So when he does get booked, it's crazy, right? And then you got guys like Diplo and Steve Aoki who have massive legacies, and they're charging up there too. Zed, Martin Garrix, these guys have hits on hits and fans on fans. That's an automatic. But like when you say you get it in the B, C, and D tiers. It goes like the B tiers are like buzz, usually like buzz artists that are hot right now and are guaranteed to sell because they are hot right now. And then those lower tiers are guys that have incredible cult followings and are still going to sell tickets and have figured something out other than just the music itself. So it's really interesting to see the talent scales and the legacy scales that go in conjunction with that.
I would say though, like from a DJ standpoint, I don't think it's changed. I think our perception of it has changed.
What do you mean by that?
So 10 years ago, I was a promoter. And
yeah,
a DJ,
you told me that. I was interested. Right? I stuck with me.
So like
when you said you used to bring people to the club.
Yeah, I would bring people. The only thing that's changed now is I would physically go out and shake hands and get on the phone and call people. The only thing that's changed is you're not talking to your phone, which is broadcasting that to more people. But the game hasn't changed. Your perception of it has changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the tools have changed.
And the tools have changed.
Yeah.
But you still have to be a promoter. You still have to be the guy that's going out there and promoting your product. And your product is, I'm a DJ and I will be at this venue on this night. That is my brand, and come see me there. And that's what you're being paid for. So I think that a lot of people, for us, I mean, like guys that, like us that have been in the game a long time, we challenge that, because for us it's like, oh, well, that it's hard for us to wrap our heads around. But as young people, it's just natural to them. Like, this is how I promote.
all they know.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, I find it ironic, based on what you just said, though, I'm noticing a trend in, remember like the monthly flyers, check out all the gigs I'm doing, right? I'm seeing a lot of anti-information when it comes to what I'm doing tonight. I see a lot of people just put it up on their little bubble, on the Instagram bubbles. That's the only place I see people actively talking about that. It's like, because of the, it's called offer blindness, I guess. Which I do find frustrating, because like I do want to let people know what I'm doing, but it gets zero engagement. Like that informational flyer stuff, or even just posting a flyer, you either have to talk about it in a face-to-face like TikTok format, but even that gets mundane, because it's like, how do you jazz that up? Hey guys, come check me out tonight. Unless you have like a super hardcore, I'm going to go to every club you go to, or that you play at type of thing. It's really I'm seeing even guys like Propa, I think, is doing a really great job of balancing his producer and his personality. And he shows himself at the club, showing off his music and doing things like that. I feel like Propa's really at the bleeding edge of what it is to be a successful producer / DJ / brand manager. I think he's doing an excellent job, but that's a tough code to crack.
Speaking about branding real quick, what are you doing for yourself as far as your branding? Like, you say you have your marketing company and your DJing. So like, are you sticking to reels? He's saying like stay away from flyers, because I do feel like flyers and schedules are kind of played out.
It's tough.
And like, are you doing like exclusive stuff? Are you doing like, what is your strategy? You don't have to give all free game out. Because
I don't mind.
Don't give all the game
what's
out.
working well for you?
Because you get to you're an expert versus me. I'm like, well, this is kind of gonna work. I see this other DJ doing this. So like, what are some things that you're doing?
Well, when I started my marketing operation that turned into a company back in 2017, I was always engagement based. I had this theory that, if I were to walk in a room full of people at an event, say there's 100 people in the room, how can I get all 100 of those people to know me in 20 minutes, right?
You say as a person or as a person? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So as a person, I always thought, how can I, because I used to do a lot of networking stuff. How can I go in this room, and because you have limited time, how can I go in this room and all 100 people know who I am? Well, I would just literally go up and tap everybody on the shoulder and walk away. Tap everybody on the shoulder and walk away. They're gonna look around and go, oh, who's that? Who's that guy? Who's that guy? So I take that same approach to Instagram, and I want to basically tap people on the shoulder virtually so that they turn around and see my profile. And so what's been working for me is been automating my engagements with other people, basically taking my thumbs and multiplying my thumbs times 1,000 and engaging with other people's stories, engaging with people's posts, so that they notice me, because I'm always at the top of their notifications feed. And then in turn, they will organically see my page and organically decide to follow, like, and come back. So then now what's the output? The output, I'm pretty much have found a lot of success on stories. I'm just now starting to get into reels, because I know reels are important,
stories. Okay.
but mostly Instagram stories. And because that's first of all, it's the most viewed metric, and it's also the most free metric, because the wall is reserved for marketers. That's why I was
going to ask you why do I get more views on my stories sometimes, and I got like 30 likes on.
Because the wall is reserved for marketers. That's where Instagram makes their money. That's all these social media companies. They're all money driven now. They have billions of users, and so they want to monetize as much as possible. So anything with text, the algorithm will read it, and they know it's text. They know you're probably selling something or promoting something. So that's why text is just buried. So you'll see now the smarter thing is people just put like a video image, or sorry, a still image, and then the caption they'll put like what they're what they're trying to sell. Yeah. So when it comes to DJ stuff, all the flyer stuff,
does it work?
Didn't really work. So I like to go on my stories and go, hey guys, I was just making this breakfast real quick. Look at these eggs, man. By the way, tonight I'll be at Omnia, play in the room. Come through if you want to. I'm gonna get back to these eggs.
That's engaging, though.
Right? Yeah, it's engaging. Yeah. It's like
showing personality.
Let's rewind. You just kind of slid past that real quick. That's genius. That's genius. So you talk about something, a human thing, slide in information, and then get back to the human thing.
Yeah.
And that pay attention to that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's huge, especially in this day and age. All the young DJs watching right now are listening.
People are tired of being sold. They don't want to be sold stuff. It's like, if you know basic sales, the easiest sales when you're not selling at all. You're just like solving a problem. You know, somebody have a birthday this week. What do I do? Oh yeah, I got the answer for that. I'm actually DJing your night of your birthday. You want to come up and have a good time? Unforgettable time? Sure, come on out. You know, it's like,
let me ask you a question from a marketing standpoint. Okay, so because I think about this all the time. You have, let's say you're a DJ, right? You're 25. You have an Instagram page. Probably your Instagram page is your marketing deck that you're going to give to like a potential promoter or nightclub owner or whatnot. Let's say you get introduced to a nightclub owner and he goes on your page, but there's nothing on your page that has anything to do with DJing because you're only listing that stuff in stories. So everything on your feed or your reels is just average daily life. So there's no schedule. You're trying to get information about this person. What are cool things that they've done? But then that's really lifted there because it all lives in your stories. So from a marketing standpoint, should you be putting up your monthly schedule as a post so that somebody that was potentially interested in your brand can see it, but then you're also just doing like real face-to-face stuff on stories so that you have like almost like a brand page as your carousels and your reels, and then stories is where your organic content lives.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Somebody asked me this question the other week on a call, and we actually went over this exact topic. So I was taught by my creative director, because I have a creative director for my page, that when it comes to, you know, people checking your page, all the club owners, venue directors, whatever, you got to do the 3 scroll rule. They're only going to look 3 rows down.
Said that. I never learned that.
So those 3 rows need to have, like if you look at my page, my first 3 rows are all videos of me performing. My first 3, like the highlights. So one in a hip hop room, one in an EDM room, one on a rooftop in PB in San Diego. So they can see those videos. Then the next 3 are me like action shots, you know. Then there's, you know, lifestyle shots, me shooting with feature, me shooting with, you know, me hanging with my buddies, like little lifestyle stuff. So if they don't ever go past those first 3 rows, they know exactly what it is that I do. And it's that I DJ, and then if you want to see me in action, just click right there. You can see a video of me rocking the crowd. So,
personality too.
It's a resume.
Yeah,
it is a resume.
Yeah. And that lives on the wall. You know, and then the stories is what I do day to day. You know, so.
And you can actually really control that if you're not so active on your main grid.
Yeah,
you can control that very heavily, and obviously utilizing pins. If you want to, even something that was 3 years old, you can still pin it to the top. And especially if it had tons of numbers and it's one of your best looking videos, why not pin it?
And recency is important too. I was told this by a booker, and he said that it wasn't to me, but it was about another DJ. It looks like he hasn't DJed in over a year. Why would I book him? Because his pin post was like 3 years ago. So they are looking at recency to see like when's the last time you played out, you know?
Yeah.
So
I know some DJs do keep like, it looks pretty and it's amazing, and then it's like maybe 25 posts, but it's like 2021, 22. I'm like, damn, dude, like
if it's all
it
stale
looks pretty,
content,
but then you start looking at the dates.
That's
because
not
I feel
good.
like Kendrick Lamar just said it, Drake, the audience isn't dumb. And I used to think that, I don't think people are dumb anymore. I used to think like, oh, they don't get it. But now people are getting.
Well, it's the power of perception is a delicate thing, because people do understand how this works, because so many people are now brand influencing for themselves.
Yeah.
So more and more people, I would say ever since COVID especially, it was a massive threshold of knowledge. All of a sudden everybody had the time to figure out how to use a camera.
What's engagement,
how to
what's
use a
this,
studio.
tags.
And then by nature, you're going to learn those mechanics. So the urgency of understanding and that power perception, that veil's being lifted a little bit, because you could literally fake the funk as a brand for a long time pre-COVID, because nobody understood those mechanics.
And to add a little note, like, because I'm around a lot of young people at downtown. Like when they see you have 20,000 followers, they get excited, like you're a celebrity to them. I'm like, bro, this is just Instagram. But like you said, they didn't know anything before. So this is, to them, it's like that's all they know. And it's like, it's crazy to see that. I'm like, because we know, like, bro, you have 20,000 followers, you're not gonna bring out 20,000 people.
Right, exactly.
But to them, it's, oh, you're popping, you got a blue check.
Have you ever seen those TikTok book sellers?
We bring
they
TikTok
have like 3 million
people
followers,
show up
and
for them. It's
one
nuts.
person shows up. That's embarrassing.
I've seen the opposite.
I've
People
seen
actually
it.
show up for them. Oh my God, aren't you that girl from TikTok? And I'm like, bro, people really know you?
It goes both ways there.
Okay, let's go.
Because it's I would call it like your cult density. Like how strong is your cult that follows you?
How do we create a cult?
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. How do you create that? Where like you do show up and it's not just one person.
Well, it's passion, right? You're selling passion. And like, are you creating that passion to your brand? And there's that connection there. And I think there's some people that have really figured it out. And there's other people that are starting to crack the code. And there's other people that are just left out in the cold. And this is a really important discussion that we're having, because not all of this is second nature. I mean, there's a lot of people that have coaches on coaches on coaches for different dynamics within social media, brand management, entrepreneurship. There's a lot of coaches out there. That's an ecosystem itself, is coaching. So, and everybody specializes in different elements of this as well. So, I think having a coach of any kind, that's somebody that isn't you helping you with your own brand, is really important, because it's third person perspective versus first person perspective.
Yeah.
Plus, it really depends, right? Like on what are you doing? If you're a chef and you're cooking and you have a TikTok and Instagram page that's just dedicated to cooking, like it's pretty easy to gain followers because everybody wants to learn about cooking. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but
everybody loves food.
Yeah, it's really easy to make content that people can recognize. If you wake up one day and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna teach people how to make some scrambled eggs today, but it's the chef's kiss. All of a sudden you have like 1.3 million views because everybody wants to learn how to make scrambled eggs because it's something everybody does.
Yep.
But as DJs, not everybody's a DJ, and if you're not giving them music every day
or personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think you touched on it. I think knowledge is power, as they say. The cooking videos get a lot of traction because, like, oh, I want to learn how to make a chocolate bacon souffle.
Right.
But then I noticed the best DJ videos that get the best traction are the ones showing you how to DJ. Like, there's this guy, I won't plug him, but I think it's a page called Mile High DJ Supply that I follow.
Yeah.
And all his stuff is about, like, did you know this? Did you know you could do this? And I'm watching that all day, like, dang, okay, I didn't know that trick. I didn't know that trick. And then you go out and use it. And you're like, yo, bro, this is pretty dope. So I think, and his page gets pretty good engagement. So I think if more DJs, because we want to protect our secrets. But
we like to
how many
gatekeep.
routines have you gotten from someone else? Like, how many routines have you saw and like, okay, I can do that. I'll jazz it up a little bit. But like, so I think the real thing is the knowledge. We can share a little bit more knowledge and more technical stuff, because DJs, we're just putting out like, here's me rocking the crowd, this epic drop. All right, how, like, my boy, what's his name? I'll come back to him. But
he was rocking the crowd.
Yeah, well, his name just blanked me, but he will do breakdowns of his sets. And
Danger Zone.
Danger Zone.
Yeah.
See how when you right away?
Bro, it's one of
I love it.
we collaborated.
Danger Zone, so I don't know how, because so Danger Zone, he's actually been a client of mine for the last couple of years, and I've seen him evolve. And one of the main reasons that he's evolving is because of those behind the scenes, because he also monetizes and sends people to his Patreon. Yeah. So he gets this is how I rock the crowd from start to finish. For my complete set list, go to my Patreon, which is the $5. But that's brilliant. It's like, yeah, man, like I love watching those breakdowns, and it's probably educational to so many other DJs.
Oh, yeah. I learned we had a creative director that came into this other business, and he dropped this knowledge on me. I thought it was so smart. He was like, when you sit down to make content, there's 3 things that people are looking for: education, inspiration, or entertainment.
Yeah.
And if you hit on one of those 3 things, you'll gain followers and you'll gain loyal fans, because those are 3 things that people will always come looking for, and that all people are searching and need in their life. And I was like, that's pretty smart.
And if you can get 2 out of the 3,
exactly.
if not all 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Really just be good at something. I mean, I think I was watching this show on Netflix, and they were saying that before 2000, before the internet revolution, like, you were famous because you were really good, really freaking good at something, right? And then now after 2000, internet rage, people are trying to be famous, right? And so I think if you go back to the old adage of like, just really be good at something, just be a really good DJ. And people, like, you'll build a cult following, because when people come out, they're like, dude, I just love hearing him DJ. I love the vibe, and then other stuff will follow.
Yeah, you bring up that's interesting, because think about it. You could be the best Instagram or TikTok promoter, but at some point, someone has to hear you DJ.
Right.
No names have been
At some point,
we all know someone. We all know somebody. Somebody's face came into your. We all know somebody. But go on.
No, but that's true too.
It's true, though.
But think about, like, in a market like Vegas that does experiment with certain types of DJs that aren't necessarily just known for their DJing, right? Whether it's celebrityhood or there's a lot of different dynamics there. And then I've heard some horror stories where they literally can't back up their celebritydom, and it's just they should have been a host maybe not a DJ. And I think that was a wave. That was actually a whole wave. I mean, for not just here in Vegas, but all over the place. And you know how many times I have friends with a lot of talent bookers, and I'm like, you hear people complain, and they're like, I can't believe I paid this much money for this. And it's a nightmare. And I think that was, now the pendulum is swinging back to merit and skill, but with a twist, because they still want that leverage or pull of some sort. Do you have some gravity? Do you have a fanfare? And certain markets hold it in a higher regard than others, but I think Vegas is like the Mount Everest of being really good at something and then being able to back up the DJing and be able to hold the room. Because Vegas, I feel like, has never been harder to rock because, especially in a big room, I've watched it, compared, because I've been coming out to Vegas since 2009, and the club would stay packed by default till 6 a.m. By default. You didn't even have to be a great DJ, you just keep the energy up. And now I've seen rooms evaporate with great DJs at 1:30, 1:45. I'm like, what's going on? Like, was there a fire alarm? Like, and it's really frustrating to watch, and it makes me sweat when I'm not even DJing. Like, I get like secondhand pressure from that, just seeing that happen, because I want to stay out. I like to stay out all night, like 3 a.m, 4 a.m at a club, and just enjoy that momentum.
That's what you grew up to. That's the Vegas,
but not only that, but just most cities are like at least till 3 a.m. I want to stay out till 3 a.m. That's what I expect. And then when the lights come on, the club's still full, right? And I just, I don't know if Vegas is just going through a phase where it is trendy to be in a smaller room again. I'm noticing that. Like, places like Pinky Ring.
That like concert mentality.
It is a concert,
People now, they show up, they want to see the big act. And perfect example, we were at Zook the other night. T-Pain was there. He performs, and I'm sitting in the back. It's me and the entertainment director and like the opening DJ. T-Pain gets off. 10 minutes later, the club is completely empty.
That's wild.
Like, you could see him walk off the stage, and people were just walking out the door. And she was like, "Oh yeah, this happens."
This is when I book Latin artists, we put them on till 2:30. Oh, so because you're gonna leave after, we need you to drink.
Right.
Because you put them on 1:30.
Exactly. Because this is a business. Having that strategy is.
Didn't even stay 10 minutes. You said
key.
They didn't even stay 10 minutes.
It was like the second that he got off, you just saw people booking for the door. Within 10 minutes, the club was like, it was packed. Like, both rooms, just, a couple thousand people, and it went from a couple thousand to
makes him feel good.
Probably 400. Like in 10 minutes, it was crazy.
Do you think it has something? Ironically, talking about selling drinks, I mean, do you think that I think that we're at a tipping point for cost as well, because we're hearing about this all the time: bottle prices, drink prices, not just in Vegas but everywhere. I mean, do you think that's a heavy dynamic on that?
I think that it has to do with, one, like we've talked about it, young people just aren't drinking anymore. So what's the incentive for them? Once the person that they came to see leaves, they want to go do something else. They're not.
I think clubs should start doing double headliners.
Put
somebody on at 2, somebody else goes on at 4. Why not try that?
They did that during F1.
Double headliners.
Double headliners?
So they had like Diplo and then Gordo. Or like whoever. It was like a big group. Or those chain smokers.
Afters are trendy now. Like the afters, because dance music is so big now.
Yeah.
And like afters is like a thing now. Before it was like, yo, bro, I'm really faded. I want to go somewhere.
That's so funny, because I've always been an afters guy. I'm like,
really?
Afters is cool again.
It's cool again. That's what I'm trying to say. It's always been a thing, but it's cool now. The afters,
but you have to incentivize it with a secondary headliner. Because some people might not show up.
And they play whole different sets.
Well, you were talking about like F1, so a bunch of Vegas clubs, which I thought was so smart, and they just did this by default. So in Vegas, you have these clubs that have booked all these super expensive EDM DJs for 50 dates a year or whatever. But then during F1, not everybody wants to see this EDM DJ. So then they had like Lil Wayne and Illenium, or they had Chainsmokers and
then Gordo. It was like double stack that.
Yeah, but it was always like hip hop and
something
EDM.
else.
Oh, same nightclub?
Same nightclub.
So performer and
so you're mixing the crowds. You have a churn instead of evacuation.
I mean, granted, it costs a lot of money, but I mean, they killed it. Like they said, they were some of the busiest nights they've had in a couple of years.
Good.
So again, double headliner, and you're mixing genres, like you're kind of casting a really wide net. I think it's smart.
It's a headliner mashup. Is what it is.
I mean, in Vegas, people are coming from all around the world.
Yeah.
So it's like this is the place where you just have such a melting pot. And that's why open format DJs in Vegas kind of just work so well. It's because you can kind of hit every person.
I think open format's never been more valuable.
Never been more valuable.
And it's an experienced open format. Stock value went through the roof. But then there's also the concept of negotiating rates. And I know being out here in Vegas, in my opinion, is one of the toughest animals that I've seen. Because I'm relatively new to Vegas. I've had my fair share of cool gigs here, but I've never been like a reoccurring character with a particular company. And it's really interesting to hear all the people that are like, I want to ask you that, because you've been doing this with a lot of big companies for a long time. I always feel like they just call you and tell you the rate. Like, how do you get over that? How do you overcome hey, this is take it or leave it, and get into your bag with what you do in other markets where you can negotiate your rate correctly? Because I've never seen it so like point and go. That's it. Like, how do you deal with that?
All right, let me answer this without getting blackballed from anybody's venues. Okay.
Absolutely. It's a touchy subject.
This is a great question.
Yeah.
No, so I've been working in Vegas now since 2018. 2018, 2019, I started getting my feet wet. 2020, everything went away. 2021, things slowly started to come back. 22, 23, 24 is when I really just pedaled to the metal and, invested myself into Vegas. So,
all right, guys, I want to take a quick break from the podcast. And as a special thank you for tuning in, Late Night Legends wants to offer you guys 15% off at the clubkillers.com store. It's super easy. All you got to do is go to clubkillers.com, go to the store, pick out your favorite merch, and when you go to the checkout window, enter the code LATENIGHT15. Thank you guys for watching. Let's get back to the podcast.
When I started getting deeper into the Vegas scene, I realized that all these clubs are inside casinos, and all these casinos are inside of corporations, and they're run pretty much like a corporation, and you are an independent contractor, but also employee of this corporation. And it may probably like that in the downtown scene, it's still pretty independent, but in the Vegas strip scene, you're literally playing with these billion-dollar corporations. And then when you have someone like a Tao Group that runs 80% of the nightclubs, they run the market, and they you're treated like a corporate employee, just to be honest, and they tell you what you're getting paid. Now, you can fight that and then just go to someone else, because there's so many people that are willing to do it.
Because it's kind of like a bid, right?
How do you combat that, though?
Yeah, but it's tough.
It's
you almost can't.
Yeah. Like you said, like you have a couple shots, and if you bring a lot of people, or they have, let's say you show up and it's the busiest night the club has had in 4 months, and then you come back and it's the busiest night the club has had in 6 months, and on your third try, like they're still killing it, and you have more value. Well, then you have room, but you can't just, if they're calling to have you play, they don't care who you are really. You're just, like you said, you're just a number basically.
You're on the radar for a reason. But then you get put into a roster.
You're right. You have to show a lot of added value.
Yeah, your goal is to get on the roster, and you can't think like, how can I max out on this one gig? How can I get $1,500, $2,000, whatever this one gig? It's really, how can I maximize and get multiple gigs throughout the week, throughout the month, that pay me the rate that they want to pay me, but they're going to keep me busy, and they're going to keep me employed, so to speak. And so that's kind of the approach I've taken, is how can I get into every room in the city?
Smart.
That's been my mantra.
It's great.
That's a great take, because you come from San Diego and LA, which I talked to a lot of DJs there, and a lot of it's promoter driven. A lot of it, they don't understand what you just said. I explained to them, it's corporations out here. Like, they'll see me at Live, hey, book me at Live, bro. It doesn't work like that. There's still a huge corporation like on top.
And don't forget, you're still dealing with the I call it the high school mentality of like the social circles. You have to be 100%. In with this. Not only do you have to deal with the corporation once you get in, you got to be cool with these people, and cool with these people, and cool with these people, and and also know the dynamics of who doesn't like this person, doesn't like this person. So you're not like, so there's a lot.
High school, bro, you nailed it. Just like high school.
You gotta sit at the cool table.
And how do you maneuver through it? Just kind of like, hey, keep it. Obviously, no name dropping, but how do you keep it cool? Like, because like you want to play in every room, and there's going to be tensions or politics in every room. How do you maneuver through that?
Well, face-to-face marketing or presence has never been bigger for me. So it's really like DJs still to this day DM me, hey man, how can I? There's still one on my request folder right now. How can I play in Vegas? I'm like, bro. You have to first of all be in Vegas. It's like any market you want to play into. You need to go out and find out who's who.
Listen to that, guys. Repeat that, please, because I get a lot of these from young. I deal with a lot of young DJs. So, like, they do not understand. They really don't. It's not, not even talking shit, but they do not understand. So explain.
You have to go talk to the people that you want to play with. You need to go show up to these venues, shake hands, kiss babies, as they say. I will say about Vegas is that unlike any other market, the DJs have helped me more. And I even say his name, Booza, like one of the biggest helps, and I get emotional sometimes talking about it.
He's all over the street.
Booza has opened a lot of doors for me. He's helped me tremendously, and Icon too, But when I first started coming out here, Booza gave me a couch to crash on. Whenever I came out here, I crashed on his couch. Like, that's unheard of. Booza would introduce me to certain people. I'm like, yo, this is Murphy Kennedy. He's from San Diego. He's a good DJ. Like, boom. And after saying it so many times, you get that shot. And then when you get that shot, it's yours now. Now that person has passed you the referral, it's kind of up to you to keep that job. And so I think where I've taken over is just making sure that I stay in those rooms. And then, fortunately, I look back, a year from now, I'm pretty much a resident at every major venue out here except for Live, but I still play, Fountain Blue Properties, but every major venue I play.
That's a big feat coming from San Diego. That's a huge feat.
Yeah.
So people come here and they never really make
it's a tough thing to.
Or even locals that are from here don't ever even make it.
I mean,
that's a huge feat.
I remember the first year I was living here, I couldn't get a gig. I literally, like, even with people knowing who I was from my edits and remixes and everything, I was like, I didn't understand the ladder and how things function.
Do you think because you were boxed in as an editor?
No, I just didn't understand what he just said.
Oh, okay.
You got to go out, because I was in the lab all the time.
True.
I'm a hibernating bear in my lab, and that was a huge eye opener for me, because I took it for granted in other markets it would just happen. I'd get booked, and I had to literally fly out of Vegas to get booked anywhere because I couldn't get. It was crazy, and that face-to-face association still is a massive weakness for me, because I'm so busy, thankfully, with other things that I don't always have time to go out and shake hands and maintain relationships, because I had a bridge before, like, pre-COVID with Tao, and obviously a lot of those things restructured, and a lot of those people are still in positions, but it's been 5-6 years separated, so obviously a lot of people are knocking on the door to get in there, so you drift further back in the line to pop up in, because there's only so many dates in a calendar, right? There's only so many days you can fill, and there's plenty of talented DJs. So I get it. It's a really challenging situation, and being in Las Vegas, I feel like there is no other market like Las Vegas. I mean, I don't know if you feel that way, but I feel like there really is no other economy/market the way it operates, because the way people hit me up too, hey, I'd love to open up for you sometime. I'm like, well, that's not going to work. It's never going to work, because there's already 3 other people that are set up to open up or close around me.
Or have contracts.
Yeah, and have contracts. They don't understand the hierarchies of that. And it's a really strong ladder that needs to be understood and respected. Heavily respected. You got to respect the game.
Listen to DJs, for real.
Yeah,
I don't forget. I'm telling you.
I mean, don't forget also putting your time in. It's like, I was told this when I first was coming up, like, put your time in. And like, I tell all the hungry DJs, to telling the DJ last night, one of my good buddies who's like, man, like, I want to do this and this and this. I'm like, brother, how long have you been DJing out here? 6 months. I'm like, bro, been out here for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, it's like with any other job, you don't get to just your first day on the job talk about, I want to be the CEO. That's not going to work like that. You have to get experience, because you can go without experience, sure, go ahead. But remember, you only get one shot, like, to blow it. I call it. You only get one shot to blow it.
Yeah.
Right. You go in there. You want to play this room so bad. You go in there and you fail. You're never gonna get a call back. Why not take your time, learn the room? This is like my strategy. This is even when I did the Fortune DJ competition that kind of started my career in San Diego. My competition date, I was week 3. Week 1 and 2, I was in those rooms watching the other DJs play. I was in the back, like I was scouting a football game.
Oh yeah.
Was the competition more like rocking the crowd?
Rocking the crowd, cool. Technicalities.
Okay.
Also it was all 3.
Gotcha.
You're a judge on all 3. Okay. And so, but my thing was, I want to know what I'm up against. So I would show up weeks 1 and 2, just stand in the back the whole time taking notes. Then I would go home, go into the lab, and prepare for my set. And I won that competition. I think in large part because not only the support I received, but because of my preparation. So I take that same mentality to this day. When I wanted to play at Jewel, when I wanted to play at Liquid, when I wanted to play at Zook, when I wanted to play at Marquee, what did I do? I went and I listened to the other DJs play, and I stayed there all night, from the opener to the closer. I wanted to know what are they doing, because they're being booked here for a reason. So they're giving you the blueprint. I'm not saying copy their songs word for word, song for song, but listen to the blueprint. take that blueprint home and make your own. You know,
in Vegas, you have to fit in before you stick out.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've noticed. You have to fit in before you stick out.
Smart.
You have to master the rules before you can break them, and that's a really
You're
heavy
referring to like
concept.
how like Vice said that AM was able to get away with all these tracks, and Vice was like when he was starting out, Vice like, bro, I played the same records, and why are you getting mad at me for it?
But if you think about it, you know, AM took a lot of risks because he was so good at playing the essentials.
You don't think it was because he's already in? Like you said?
But he proved himself by having a reputation of going off the wall, but at the same time rocking with whatever the new Britney Spears was.
Yeah.
And then you go into a Motown record.
Yeah.
And then you go into a rock record because he'd educate while he pacified.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a balance to have.
I mean, there's this story of AM, not to get crazy off topic, but I think this is such a good story. So he used to play this club in LA, and the owner would walk up in the DJ booth, and he'd be like, all right, I want to get the crowd, let's take them angry. And he'd be like, I got you. And he would like play some like heavy metal, and the crowd would start getting all riled up. And then the club owner would be like, all right, let's make it sexy. I want to see some girls on the dance floor. And then he'd be like, I got you. But he wasn't allowed to play anything new. The rule was he had to do it just based off musical knowledge. And he could look at a crowd and he could take you on this crazy journey of like emotion. And that's how that's how he kind of.
But at the same time, he was fitting in, like to kind of reinforce
Yeah,
the
the
whole
whole talking smack. I'm
point.
just saying, could he do that right away?
Yeah. Well, it's like I guess you build a reputation with that because, like, I guess
He's a GOAT, by the way. I'm not talking
absolutely.
smack or
No,
nothing.
but like I'm trying to like really pull this full circle is because with any Vegas DJ, especially, like, I really want to stay focused on Vegas here because it is such an animal where if you get your foot in the door, right, you gotta follow the script. But then how do you differentiate yourself? You do have to take a risk once in a while. And I know so many great DJs that have done that exact blueprint that maybe they had to start at the bottom of the totem pole and work up. And then all of a sudden you do take that challenge. And like your music director comes up to, I need to throw you a curveball, but we got a spender doing this right now. That's where you stand out. You're going to stay on the roster by playing it safe. But you're going to go up the roster by taking risks at the right time with the right spenders and the right people. That's where you graduate. And I've seen this I've heard story after story with these guys that have been out here for 20 years. That's usually how it works. You know, there's always that story like, oh, somebody, got sick and I got the call to come in to cover and I rocked it. That's a cool generic form. But it's usually those pinpoint moments when you're in front of the music director, you had an incredible opportunity to do something incredible and you actually nailed it. And all of a sudden, you're at the top of that music director's mind moving forward, and you saved the night or you made the night epic. Those are those special moments. So, I mean, I think that's kind of like on the back, or I guess the back end of DJing. But like getting your foot in the door is so important. I think to really kind of put an exclamation point on everything we've talked about is you have to find your way in and do it correctly, doing your homework. I got so much respect for the
shout
patience.
out to you, man, because a lot of DJs, I'm telling you, I do a lot of young DJs. They do not go out and listen to anybody.
You have to.
They
That's
go
a
in
lot of
there,
hours, man.
bro, it's terrible. Like that's why I like anyone hearing this right now, listen to what he just said, or what Murph just said. Like, he's there from open to close. All right, he plays like this, plays like that. That record didn't work. I'm gonna twist it my way now. That's all great advice to people who are listening right now.
Sorry. Murph, let me ask you a question. So I used to do this a lot, and what I noticed was I would get booked a lot because I would ask this question. I would call up the GM at like 12:30. How are the numbers doing? How are the tables? What's going on? 2:00. How are we doing? How are the numbers? What's going on? Simply asking that question so that they know you're thinking about not only the music, but this is a business. This is a revenue generating property. We need to generate revenue, right? So then what would happen is in the manager notes, and I would get this all the time, the booking agents would be like, oh yeah, the manager put it in his notes, hey, he was asking about the revenue, we tried something, it worked really well, let's bring this guy back. He's thinking about that. Do you take that into account at all? Like do you ever like have those conversations with the managers like while you're playing? Is it something that you even think about?
But now that you say this, that's a great idea. I personally try to stay out of the business side of things because I don't want to hear we're doing shitty. I am always cognizant of what's going on. Like, I like to see how many, like, you know, after a good night at like Heart Room at Omnia, I'm like, how many bottles came out tonight? You know, what time did they come out? You know, were they just the first bottles that came out when the table got set, or were there bottles coming out after? Because that kind of gives me a gauge of the job I'm doing. That spender, you know, yeah, they have minimum and stuff like that, but did they at 3 a.m. were there still bottles coming out? Yes. So that means that they went beyond their minimum. That kind of gives me a gauge of like what I was doing for that night. I'm usually too busy and too locked in, and to like I even tell friends that are coming out after I hop on the set, I'm not answering text messages. I'm not like I'm DJ mode, you know, and so I'm not really on my phone that much. But that's something to consider. Like I've never done that, to be honest.
That's actually good. Yeah, you know, but it is a little. I get like I think I'm more like him where. I get frustrated if I hear like, "Oh man, we're not doing good tonight."
Because I'll be honest, I never really heard the conversations were very rarely like, "Oh, we weren't doing very well." It was always like, "Okay, you know, there used to be this guy that would come in all the time named Don Johnson, not from Miami Vice, but
Don motherfucking Johnson."
Yeah, yeah. He'd come in and you'd have to be right when you walk, he'd be like, "Don motherfucking Johnson." I don't know why. Hella funny. But like he'd be like, okay, Don Johnson's going to be here at this time. Like you kind of
have to play Bon Jovi.
Yeah, you play
Bon
Jovi.
You know?
Yeah, I bet.
He was
like a $100 bill.
He was like a legend, bro. He was like a legend back in the day. He would walk in and he was like filthy rich, right? So he'd walk in.
What did he do? Do you know, or you just?
So it was crazy. We all thought that he was like in like fashion or business or something. He created this program that every school in the country bought. That was like it linked computers between like school networks or something, and then he sold it for like $1 billion or something like that.
Good for him.
Totally, yeah, nothing you would ever think of, right?
And then he just lived his life.
But he would come in and he would like give money to everybody. He would just throw stacks of money on the DJ booth. Like once he knew you, he was like super cool. Yeah. But that's like a good example of like when you ask the managers, then it's in their mind like, oh, if I do need something, I can go talk to him.
Yeah, it opens the bridge of communication.
Exactly.
It makes you part of the team, operations team.
Exactly.
That's a cool factor. If you can handle it, like juggle that without all the other responsibilities.
Yeah.
But that's it's person to person. But I think that's a good skill to have.
And it wasn't like they would come up to you all the time, but you just put it in their mind like, hey, let me know what's going on because you know this is important. Like I want the club to make money. If the club makes money, I'll be back.
Yeah,
right? And there's a hack to that you were saying. So another thing for DJ, they'll give you some free game pre-shift. You know, especially if you're the opener or the closer of that room, get there for pre-shift. Usually during pre-shift, the managers will go over with their staff. We got this table coming in. We got this table coming in with this. Also, while you're playing, pay attention to the video boards. It's going to say up there, happy birthday such and such. Shout them out. I'm always doing that. I'm looking for that video. Okay, get on the mic. Hey, happy birthday, Adriana. Happy birthday, whatever. If it's a guy, you know, really like work him up. So he buys, it's a guy's birthday, bachelorette.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you're spending money over there. I see you. Okay, rich man. Okay, you know, encourage him, man. Get him on. And it's just all being aware of your surroundings. And like I said, if you show up for pre-shift, you can do that. Listen to what they're saying. Take mental notes. You know, they're usually going to prep their staff of who's coming in for that night. You can kind of get
like the pre-shift thing is good too because it really shows you're a team player. Yeah. Like if you go down and you sit you go down, you probably know a couple of the cocktail waitresses, whatever.
I was about to say that. You said that you used to go in and you used to know everybody from the bathroom attendant
everybody.
to the GM. Like, I'm shaking everybody's hand in that club.
You go to pre-shift, you sit down right with, now you're part of the team.
I've seen busters become GMs. And I'm like, oh my God, it's my boy. What?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And the
Happens
more
all the
that
time here.
it's no different than when clubs would have outings. You go out with the club as part of their team, and all of a sudden people are like, they associate you with these people. They're super comfortable. Now you're like, you have the social interaction with them. Yeah. It's all part of like that networking, but it's very organic, right? It's super organic. You're just there hanging out with them. Yeah. But people see that, they recognize it. It goes a long way, man. Those are such little things you can do. They go so far. Especially like to your point, like you're on a roster,
and you can also up your income. Like there's so many hacks in this game, especially when it comes to like you said, knowing the bottle service girls, knowing the staff, the barbacks. You know, you can up your income just tips and song requests. Like I have a song request hack. It's the thing that DJs, the biggest trending topic right now is like the whole song request. Everybody's like, oh, don't do it. Yes, we all hate requests, but I love requests because I make money off requests in Vegas. There's some nights where I've walked with $500, $600, $700 extra dollars because I know how to manage song requests. Yes, it's annoying when the girl puts her phone up and goes, "Can you play John Summit?" I put my phone back up. My phone says $100 on it. I just do that back to them. If you're cool with the bottle service girls, you could tell them, like, you can ask them, "Hey, you have any big spenders come in? Anything I can do to like enhance them for you?" Yes. Okay, cool. And then also, by the way, if anybody asks you for a shout out or a song request. I usually charge $100. I'll split that with you. Boom. Next, I made
they're
easy
gonna hustle.
money.
Yeah.
Easy money. One night I had the bartenders coming, or the bar backs coming up here, bro. Got 100 for you. That guy wants that. Okay, cool, bro. Boom, boom. Here's a
hundreds are
bottle
ones in the
service.
club.
No,
Dude, Andrew is so good at
Easy
this,
money.
and like this actually like this was so good for his career was Vice because not only would he be like, hey, yeah, I'll play that song and they'll tip him whatever. He'd be like, bring him up to the booth. Then with those like big spenders, he brings them into the booth, and now they're like, oh my God, this DJ wants to hang out with me. Takes like 5 minutes. You shake their hand, you play their song.
I mean, you let them hit the play button.
They get the clip.
Oh yeah,
clip.
you let them hit the play button. Like,
That's a good one. You said the play button.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
but
a good
now
one.
the next time they come in, those people are requesting you. And again, now you're not the DJ. You're the DJ that people that are spending money are asking.
And that's
for.
all the clubs care about.
Yeah. And then you follow on Instagram. It's so easy to do. You follow on Instagram. You DM the next day. Oh my God, that was so fun. I'm so glad. Let me know next time you're in town. Blah 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 blah.
Please write that to the manager.
No, and exactly like you could just tell them that. Oh, you're coming in town, dude. Let them know. I'd love to play for you.
No, that's awesome.
Just like that.
That's some great advice.
And that it happens pretty fast too.
Yeah.
That's some great
Yeah.
advice. That press the play button is huge, right? That's huge.
Yeah.
You're creating an experience for them. Like that's what some people come. You have to realize like we're spoiled. We're in Vegas all the time. We see this stuff. We've been seeing this stuff for years. For some people, this is their only time away from their family, only time off of work, the first, second time in Vegas. Like if you can give them that unforgettable experience, like that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I feel like I'm also a proponent for requests because at least it gives me an idea of who's in the room and what the musical tastes are. I may not play it, but I love requests. I love it because the forehead slap is a little annoying, but now I have a thermometer in the dance floor, understanding where
for real.
and it gives you gear shifts too. You could be in the middle of your like EDM bag. Oh, I forgot to play some Latin music.
Yep, you got Bad Bunny request.
Yeah.
You got a pocket.
Oh yeah, because it's like a bookmark for me sometimes. Because I get in the zone sometimes. I just get on this linear flow, and I do acknowledge like sometimes I'll get stuck in that. There's like just railed in on a particular genre. So having those like let's jump into some classic hip hop. Let's jump into some really good Latin bangers. That's the stuff that like okay. That's why I love requests because it does give me that gear shift moment. So I really enjoy that. I have one last question for you.
And one last thing just to touch on that. If you ever want to stay on top of your music, DJ kids' birthday parties and take requests. This is how you should stay on top of all the music. I would DJ like 8, 9, 10-year-old birthday parties and they would come up. This is years ago, but they would come up, yo, can you play like Kendrick Lamar? They know music.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, and so I would take that to the club and bro, I was playing like the new DJ Mustard before they even knew it was hot because the kids knew it was hot.
As a father of two with a 9 and 11-year-old,
New Cardi just came out.
Bro, they like the songs that just come out on the radio. They know every word. I'm like, how do you know this? Like, what? I didn't even know who this person is. Like, it's crazy. That's so funny you say that.
Especially all on TikTok now, too.
True.
Generations on TikTok.
And like, also like DJing for like high school parties because they always want the newest. They don't. There's no throwbacks. It's what's the hot
Drake
list?
is a throwback for them.
It's like
Kendrick's a throwback now.
Party rock anthems disco to them. Like it's super weird. But I want to kind of distill our entire conversation into something that, like, basically, like, I want to make like a one clip for someone, like, especially an experienced or younger DJ, but that has experience of just focusing so heavily on the craft and it needs to spin outward into that social media world. What's a really good starter kit piece of advice that somebody has like barely touched their social media but is really good at DJing? What's the first thing you should do as that DJ?
Engage with other people. I mean, that's the first thing I would say. Now, obviously, you do need to have some reputable, good content up on your page when they engage back, but create reciprocal relationships with people on socials. Like I said, engage with them first, and so they can engage back. And you can do it the manual way. It's going to take, your thumbs are probably going to hurt after a while, but that's the best thing you can do. Watch people's stories, like people's stories, respond to people's stories,
thoughtful
vote on
comments.
people's polls, leave thoughtful comments, ask questions. Like there's a guy I follow in the fitness world, and he's always posting these great recipes. And I make sure, because a lot of fitness stuff is trash, and a lot of people are just putting out garbage. But his stuff is really, I can just tell it's good and it's thoughtful. And so I always tell him, like, bro, of all the stuff I watch, I like this because this makes sense and this actually helps me. Thank you. And then he always responds back. So there's things like that. Now, when you get deeper and deeper into this game, you can automate those type of things. But as a DJ starting out, that's what you kind of want to do is just build your network through
and automation is a tool. That's the other thing to highlight here. Staying organic, even at a high level, is still something. I think Diplo is a good example of that. Obviously, he has a team, but he is like, I go through content. It's always like by Diplo, or there's
he's
a comment.
smart too. It's a smart reply.
Yeah.
It's
and sometimes funny. It's just the dry ones.
It's
you know,
dry.
it's really
People
him.
not get the dry humor. I'm like, this guy is clowning you.
Yeah, because he's got a sense of humor that's super dry. So it's him based on certain comments.
And don't be surprised if that's automation as well. It's
but
funny
he knows, or the manager knows how to.
Shout out to Layla or what?
Yeah, it's like James Hype. I was able to talk with him briefly in October during the Olympia, and he gave me some really good insight but I noticed if you ever tag James Hype in a post, you get almost an instant reply that goes, "Thanks for tagging me," or hands, and I'm like, wait, is this mini chat? So what do you think I did? I went home and added that to my mini chat, and so as soon as someone tags me, they get that reply back, and you can customize it to sound. You can do all that, through AI or.
But what you're doing though is creating that bridge through simple communications. Even just like you said, the tap on the shoulder to kind of come full circle on that too. It's a tap and it's a bridge built. And I think that's a good way to kind of summate this conversation: is building bridges.
And who doesn't want to get a comment reply from their favorite DJ? Like that's just so awesome.
And they appreciate that. And obviously, if they're really excited, they'll start a conversation that you can then take over. Right. It's like autopilot versus handling the yoke yourself. So there's different circumstances because we all only have 24 hours a day. We're not super people. We got to have the tools in our toolbox to make these things more possible. And the people that use the tools the best win. Yeah, so I think that's seriously, I really enjoy your conversation because you really, I think, even opened up my eyes to what's possible because I do get hyper focused on certain elements of the industry and understanding your strengths and weaknesses. Anybody, if you understand those things and acknowledge your weaknesses so you can find help or use the tools that will help you is so important. That's how you're going to grow. So, once again, seriously, Murphy Kennedy, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
And and of course, our usual cast of characters here, Icon, Exile, and
Cups
of course,
Cups in, man.
We appreciate you. Late Night Legends.
Cheers, my man.
Appreciate you.
Sponsored with
and also shout out to Kellen.
Hey.
And I'm your host, DJ DeVille. Once again, Late Night Legends presented by Club Killers. We'll see you on the next one.
Late Night Legends. Late Night Legends. Direct from Vegas, it's the Late Night Legends. Late Night Legends. Late Night Legends. Club Killers, let's go. Late Night Legends. Late Night Legends. Direct from Vegas, the world famous Club Killers crew.